Caitlin's final game in Iowa State was a nail-biter. Rickea Jackson and Alissa did everything they could to will their team to win, but it just wasn't enough. Kiki Rice saves the day for UCLA, and more. Here is your recap for day 4 of the Women's NCAA tournament. And we start with the first game of the day, which was Notre Dame versus Ole Miss. Notre Dame took care of business and took down Ole Miss, beating them 71-56. And this game was basically over from the start, as Ole Miss just did not have the offensive firepower to hang with Notre Dame. For the Irish, it was all about their starters and their defense. It felt like the entire game they had active hands, getting in the passing lanes, getting hands on the ball, and getting Ole Miss to make mistakes and turn the ball over constantly. Now, what did they do after these turnovers? Well, they got in transition and they scored. And there was really nothing Ole Miss could do to stop it. And who was doing the scoring for Notre Dame? Well, it was their big three. And Maddie Westbelt, who had a game-high 20 points. Sonia Citron, who had a double-double, 17 points and 10 rebounds. And she also had a game-high 6 assists. And, of course, Hannah Hidalgo, who added 19 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and 4 steals against Ole Miss.
316, baby! Great job. 3rd in a row. This is huge. I think 20th is program history. The big three. Everybody's so good. First of all, everybody's so good. You guys withstood their run. They tried to make a run in the end, but we had a couple moments, but then we stayed poised, and we did what we needed to do down the stretch, which was amazing. Irish on 3. 1, 2, 3. Irish.
NC State survives a nail-biter against Tennessee, defeating the Lady Vols 79-72. Now, guys, this was a pretty evenly matched battle throughout. NC State made a huge run in the second quarter to get a 20-point lead. Tennessee dominated the third quarter for an epic comeback. And the fourth quarter really, in my opinion, was the battle. And it came down to scoring. More importantly, the lack of scorers that Tennessee could rely on. Of course, Tennessee has Rickea Jackson, who without a doubt was the best player on the floor yesterday. Even for NC State. When it came to that game, Tennessee versus NC State, Rickea Jackson was the best thing on the court right there. She had 33 points in that game, 10 rebounds, and it seemed like she did everything she could to will her team to win. Bucket after bucket after bucket. But Tennessee just needed one other person to step up in that fourth quarter. But unfortunately, that did not happen for Tennessee, and that's why they lose the game. NC State, on the other hand, had the dynamic duo of Isaiah James and Sanaya Rivers, who played every minute for Westmore and finished with 22 points and 22 points respectively. I also thought that freshman Zoe Brooks really did show up for this game as well for NC State, both offensively with 16 points and defensively as well. They were just the better team overall, and they had better talent in terms of their personnel. And their offensive firepower was spread out amongst multiple people, which to me was why NC State came out of this game on top. And as I previously mentioned in another video, this was the first time that Tennessee played NC State since Kelly Harper was the head coach of NC State for 4 years. She also was on the Westmore coaching staff when he was at Chattanooga. Yes, it is a small coaching world. Paige Buckets took over as Yukon defeated Syracuse 72-64. And this game was all about Paige Beckers, who just did about everything for the Huskies. She played all 40 minutes. She went for 32 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, and 4 steals, and also even 1 block. And speaking of blocks, there was a 3-minute stretch in the first quarter where Yukon had a bit of a block party with Paige, Aaliyah Edwards, and Nika Mule all getting in the block action. And it really got the crowd going in stores. But for Yukon, it wasn't just about the blocks. It was about them staying out of foul trouble. And also sitting down on defense and really guarding Deasia Fair. And getting the ball to the hot hands of Paige Beckers and Ashlyn Shade. For the Orange, they had a solid mix of scoring, but this team goes as far as De'Asia Fair takes them. And while she had 20 points in this game, and she got her teammates involved with 6 assists, she just really had an off-scoring night, and that resulted in this team losing. That was the result of, yes, great defense from Yukon, but also overall, I just thought she was off. She just seemed a little bit off. I mean, she had a phenomenal game to get the Orange where they were at in that game against the Huskies, but she didn't have enough in that particular game to get them over the hump. So for now, the Huskies move on. Gonzaga took down Utah 77-66, and to me, the game was kind of similar to that Tennessee game. The Utes had one star in Alissa Peely, who did just about everything she could scoring-wise to lead her team to victory, but it just wasn't enough. She didn't have enough support from her teammates. Peely did her thing, going 4 of 7 from the three-point line and finishing with 35 points. But again, not enough support from her teammates, which ultimately led to their demise. Gonzaga, on the other hand, had a spread-out scoring, courtesy of their big three, Yvonne Ejim, and the three-point shooting of Kaylee and Kyleen Trong. Ejim had a double-double with 17 points and 13 rebounds in this game, and the Trong sisters went 7 of 12 from the three to finish with a combined 35 points. And the game was basically over. And, you know, that's basically the ball game. Gonzaga had 12 three-pointers, and Utah only made 8. That's the scoring margin right there. All right, now on to Indiana, who defeated Oklahoma 75-68. So another close game in this one that really came down to the fourth quarter, where Indiana's Mackenzie Holmes just basically took over from there. It really was a Mackenzie Holmes run. At 4 minutes left to go in the game, Oklahoma was winning 59-58, and Mackenzie Holmes gets the ball, gets a layup. She gets the ball again, gets another layup, then she gets fouled and makes her both of her free throws. Then she makes another layup. Now Indiana is up by 2 points with a minute left to go. Oklahoma had a really, really bad turnover, and Garzone makes the jumper for Indiana, and basically from there, you know, there's 40 seconds left to go, and the game is basically over. And it's free throws from there on out to finish the game. Mackenzie Holmes gave the Hoosiers 29 points, 6 rebounds, 4 blocks, and once again has led Indiana to win another game. To the Sweet 16, the Hoosiers go. Now on to the highly talked about game, Iowa versus West Virginia. It was a close one throughout, but Iowa got the job done, winning 64-54. Now for Iowa, this wasn't an easy win, with the team hitting some scoring droughts throughout the game, especially in that fourth quarter, where Iowa literally only made 1 field goal. And that didn't happen until 2 minutes was left to go in the game by Sydney Afalter. Now, if you didn't watch the game, you may be wondering, wait, how did they win if they only had 1 field goal in the fourth? Well, free throws, I tell you. 14 of Iowa's 16 points in that fourth quarter was done at the free throw line. And I will say, Iowa's defense looked pretty good in this game, especially from Gabby Marshall. Yes, she is scoreless for the game, but I thought that she played very, very well in terms of defense for Iowa.
That play started with a block shot. You've done that before now in postseason play. What did you see on that play when you blocked Quinterly and that she got the board and took it the distance?
I was saying earlier how it was kind of a similar play because I was late to the rotation. So like I had to kind of get out there and close out, but I'd say the first one was a little better because I actually blocked it, but this one was just like a little tip. But they were both crucial moments of the game, and I mean I'm happy that it happened that way, but I'm just gonna do whatever I can for the team.
At the start of the fourth quarter, Iowa is sitting pretty with a 10-point lead. Then West Virginia gets a 3-point shot. They get a putback for 2. They get another 3-point shot. Now all of a sudden the game is tied 48-48. And here come the fouls, which got Iowa back in the game, and it really was over from there. Caitlin once again did her thing in this game with 32 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 assists. And she did struggle with taking care of the ball with 6 turnovers. And one thing is for sure, she did make her free throws. She went 11 of 12 from the free throw line because, guys, free throws are important. Now, for West Virginia, they had a tough loss, but I think that their future is bright with J.J. Kennerly and Watson only being juniors for the squad, they just got caught with the foul bug, and it cost them. Now, I will say this, that for sure, the refs could have held their whistle on some of those calls. However, when you're playing in such a big game, you have to anticipate what the refs are going to do, and you have to do your best to not foul. Also, remember, Iowa was at home, so they had the crowd and they had the momentum. If West Virginia makes more of their shots down the stretch, they win this game. So yes, there's a lot of people talking about fouls in this game. However, even with that, West Virginia still had a chance to win. They just couldn't hit the shots. But once again, Caitlin, Hannah Stokey, and Sydney Affolter get the job done for the team and give Iowa the dub. Also, a thing to note is that Molly Davis did not play in today's game. And if you didn't know, if you didn't hear it said hundreds of times basically yesterday, that was Caitlin's official last game at Culver Hawkeye Arena, and she for sure put on a show for her hometown crowd.
Honestly, it's hard. Like, you just compete for 40 minutes and like give your everything, and then you don't want to get emotional. You do want to get emotional, but I think I'm more than anything, I'm just grateful. I wish I could have stayed on that court for a while and soaked it all in a little longer. But I don't know. I don't think there's a better way we could go out. Just a gritty, resilient win. Honestly, to me, it was like almost the opposite of Iowa basketball in a way, but I think that's what makes it that much sweeter. Like, our defense was really good, and people don't always give our defense too much credit, and that was the reason we won tonight. And we didn't make too many shots, but still put up 64 points, and at this point, all that matters is survive and advance, and that's exactly what we did.
USC takes care of business, taking down KU 73-55. Now for Kansas, Tiana Jackson led the charge with a double-double with 10 points and 18 rebounds, and Samaya Nichols added in 22 points for the Jayhawks. Also, random note, but is it just me, or is there a lot of college players right now with the name Samaya? Anyway, it was the turnover situation that really hurt the Jayhawks in this game, with them having 18 turnovers in the game. And those are what USC capitalized on. For the Trojans, they were led by freshman star Juju Watkins, who had 28 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists. And yes, she did get hit with the turnover bug with 6 turnovers, but she still got the job done for her squad. Juju was helped in scoring by Mackenzie Forbes, who really has been amazing these last several weeks for USC. She hit 6 3-pointers and finished the game with 20 points. And yes, she was very, very fond of her USC memories. Remember, she did come from the Ivy League.
What does it mean for you as a veteran cornerstone of this team to kind of be a leader and find a new place and a new home here?
Yeah, it's been super special for me. I think, I've enjoyed my time at every school, but I think this being kind of like my last final run for it to be with this such a special group. I love everyone in this locker room. I love everyone on our staff. And to do it here where my family can come to every single game, it's just, I feel super blessed, super grateful. I've made some of my best friends here. Shout out to the managers in the back. And I really do. I love it here. And I when I decided to choose a school for my 5th year, I wanted it to be someplace that would feel like home, even only after 1 year. And that's what I had hoped for here. And I think that definitely came true.
It was a pretty close game in the 4th, but the floodgates opened for USC when they got several 3-pointers and layups to extend the lead and secure the win for the Trojans. And for the last game, we saw a nail-biter that resulted in a 67-63 win for UCLA over Creighton. Now, this was kind of a tale of two halves. The first half, we saw Creighton getting bucket after bucket relatively easy, as UCLA wasn't getting around screens like they needed to. In the second half, when that hits, UCLA ups the pressure, and they take care of business. For the Bruins, they were led by, once again, Lauren Betts, who returned. She didn't play in their last game, but she returns with a double-double, 20 points and 10 rebounds. But it really was the second half effort of Kiki Rice that solidified the game for the Bruins. She finished with 24 points, 6 rebounds, 3 steals, and, might I add, 0 turnovers. To the Sweet 16, UCLA goes. All right, guys, that is the video. Thank you all so much for watching. I do want to give a huge, huge thank you to the Patreon members for this channel. Rachel, JB, David, Michelle, Trisha, Adrian, Montreal, W. Hoop, W Hoop Club, Chance, Anthony, Charles 19, Didi in Tennessee, Kyra, awesome person of the internet, Frank, LK, and Annette for their financial support of this channel. If you would like to join them in supporting the work that we do at Quita Loves Sports, I would ask for you to become a Patreon member. It really, really helps to financially support this channel. All right, guys, I thank you so much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed it, and I hope you all are just really enjoying these wrap-ups. I know a lot of times there's a lot of games, and it's hard to catch up and know what happened, but hopefully these are helpful for you. If they are, if you can please let me know by hitting that like button, that would be fantastic. Also, if y'all get that subscribe button as well, if you are not subscribed to the channel. And guys, I have a question for you. Let me know in the comments, who do you think is going to make it out of the Sweet 16? So the Sweet 16 is finalized. We will be doing a special Sweet 16 show on the channel. But before that, let me know, guys, what your thoughts are. Who do you think is going to make it out of the Sweet 16 and on to the Elite 8? Until next time, guys. Bye.